Audio check. Go ahead and, oh, that's us. Hello, everyone, and welcome to tonight's Board of Architecture Review meeting. It is now 6 o'clock on November the 4th. I'm Beth Huggins, the Vice Chair of the BAR, filling in for David Price. We will be reviewing submittals in the order in which they were submitted to the Town of Somerville Planning Department. Our charge is to consider each project based on aesthetics, design, architecture, height, mass, and scale in harmony with the Historic District of Somerville. We welcome any public comments that may assist in our evaluation of the project. Those wishing to comment should have signed up on the sheet outside of the chambers indicating which project one wishes to give comment on. If commenting, please limit your comments to 3 minutes or less. Our first order of business is to approve the minutes from October 7th meeting. Are there any comments or amendments to the minutes?
No, I make a motion that we approve the minutes.
I'll second that. Jane, you're good? Kimsey?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, then the minutes are approved. Our first,
Beth will do public comments now.
oh, yes, okay, all right, sorry.
All right, and I apologize if I butcher your name. I'm gonna try my best. Mark Yampolsky? Close enough? Okay. I appreciate the support. In regards to the Short Central Performance Pavilion.
You said my name perfectly. Thank you. Good evening, and thank you for the opportunity to speak. I'm Mark Yampolsky. I'm here representing the Southern Songwriter Festival. I'm also active in planning and hosting entertainment projects for Somerville Dream. The annual Southern Songwriter Festival occurs each September. We just completed our 3rd year. It celebrates local and regional songwriters, bringing in visitors and energy to downtown Somerville. Currently, we host songwriters from throughout the Southeast. The proposed Short Central outdoor stage would be a huge asset, giving artists a professional, community-centered place to perform and helping us expand family-friendly events throughout the year. Right now, we construct a temporary stage in that area to support the Songwriter Festival. And this has occurred in September, kind of in or near the Sweet Tea Festival. And over the past 3 years, we brought in 30, 35, 40 songwriters over the 3-day, completely filling up that Short Central area. Typically, we started on Thursday evening, had a few hours of songwriters Thursday evening. We did Friday afternoon into the evening and also all day Saturday. And that Short Central was just filled with people, just from beginning to end, all the way to the end there. We construct a temporary stage there, which is has been suitable. But I believe that a permanent structure is really going to help us draw and attract even more artists to the area. We get submissions and requests for people to join our festival from all over the East Coast, as far as Florida, as far north as Maryland, and as far south as Florida. So that kind of structure would really be great. And it's amazing for the merchants down there, the number of people that are brought in, and they all got to eat and drink and all that. So the stage would support the arts, local business, and the kind of spirit that makes Somerville such a special place. On behalf of the Southern Songwriter Festival and my role in coordinating Somerville Dreams entertainment program, I respectfully ask for your support of this project.
Thank
you.
Mhm.
All right, I think this might have been an error. Mr. Jones of 803, you'll be up in a minute. We have Jill Nicholas, 108 Garvin Drive, to comment about Short Central.
Hey guys,
Hello.
my name's Jill Nicholas. I'm a resident of Somerville, but I'm also a business owner down on Short Central. We've had 4 green fields on the corner there by the parking garage for the last 15 years. And we're just here to lend our support to the project that's coming up on Short Central. We're really looking forward to seeing some redevelopment back down there to kind of tie things into the work that's been done up on the square. Really looking forward to hopefully not even just what's currently on the slate, but moving up the street even further in the future. So just here uh,
Support.
that's the word I'm looking for, in support of that, from a voice from some of the business owners.
Thank you.
Okay, we have Miss Vicky Fagan. And I'm sorry, I can't read your street name. Miss Fagan, you didn't write what project you're commenting on?
The Somerville Dream Short
Great.
Central.
Thank you.
And I just want to say that I'm very proud of Somerville Dream and the efforts that they make for our community. And we are so grateful for them to be so involved. 2 years ago, we had 7 vacant stores going into January. And it was filled. And people are coming here with their businesses and people are coming here to shop. And Short Central needs exactly what's going to be put there. So if you could just give them a little bit of a rah-rah and show them that the landscaping needs to be fixed. Because they really do make a really great effort for us. And we are grateful, Steve, as a town. We enjoy all of the things that you all do. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, that's all I have for public comment in person unless there's anyone who came in late. No? All right, I'm gonna go ahead and read 2 letters that we received. They're nice and long, please bear with me. Dear members of the Board of Architectural Review, on behalf of the Greater Somerville Dorchester County Chamber of Commerce Board and membership, I am writing to express strong support for the proposed Short Central redevelopment project being presented by Dream in the town of Somerville on Tuesday, November 4th. This project represents a thoughtful and forward-looking investment in our downtown core. This plan honors the rich horticultural heritage of Somerville while creating a beautiful, functional space that supports community connection and small business growth. The design's nod to flower petals, pine trees, and tea leaves serves as a meaningful tribute to the natural elements that define our town's identity and charm, while its purpose to foster gathering, celebration, and activity perfectly aligns with the community's vision for the future. The redevelopment of Short Central will create a powerful placemaking location, encouraging events and activities that will strengthen the small business economy and enhance both the resident and visitor experience. This project reflects what we've been consistently heard through the community survey and the 15-year vision plan process. Residents want distinct, beautiful spaces that celebrate our past and meet our future needs. Equally significant is the collaborative spirit behind this initiative, built with grant funding and private support from local contractors and Somerville businesses. The project demonstrates what is possible when public and private partners work together to strengthen our community. Businesses along Short Central have expressed to the chamber their desire for increased foot traffic and renewed vibrancy, and we've seen firsthand how special events have drawn crowds, boosted sales, and built community energy in this area. We commend Dream and the town of Somerville for their shared commitment to preserving the charm of our historic district while enhancing its vitality. We respectfully urge the Board of Architectural Review we respectfully urge the Board of Architectural Review's favorable consideration of this project, which we believe will serve as both a celebration of Somerville's heritage and a catalyst for its continued prosperity. Thank you for your thoughtful review and for your continued stewardship of Somerville's historic and cultural treasures. Sincerely, Rita Berry, President, CEO from the Chamber of Commerce. Dear BAR members, as an owner and resident within the Historic District of Somerville and someone who works within downtown Somerville, I am writing to show you my support of the proposed construction of the Performance Pavilion on Short Central. Short Central has often been an underutilized corridor within Somerville, even after the construction of the parking garage. Dream has worked hard for years to bring all the folks possible to support the businesses there. Unfortunately, we have lost a few over the years, but have gained some great ones as well. Through multiple events such as the Southern Songwriter Festival, Third Thursday, and other outdoor entertainment, it has been proven that if you provide the space and the entertainment, our citizens will come. This performance pavilion will benefit not only the businesses who call Short Central home, it will benefit the community at large. As the parent of 2 school-aged kids, we are always looking for a place to go within town to enjoy a great family-friendly time. We live in such a beautiful place. Just like Hutchinson Square, the Performance Pavilion will be a welcome addition to the families who live in the historic district and beyond. I am thankful for Dreams and the town's forethought and dedication to build something that will be used to all to enrich daily life in downtown Somerville. As a member of town and county committees, I appreciate the time you give to our BAR. I hope that you will support the Performance Pavilion on Short Central. Very respectfully, Hunter Jackson. That is all I have for public comments, so we can move along to item number 1 under new business.
Okay, thank you for those comments. There are 2 new items on our agenda tonight. The first is 803 South Main Street. If the applicant would like to step forward, Becca, you can give us your report.
All right, so this property right at the corner of Main Street, South Main Street and Joyce Lane, 803 South Main Street is rated number 2 notable by our SHPA survey. For those who don't know, that's the State Historic Preservation Office of South Carolina. Those surveys were completed in 1979 in 1996. So this is a highly rated, architecturally valuable home. The request is to renovate the front entryway of the existing residence. I'll let Mr. Jones elaborate on this a little bit more, but specifically the side lights, transom, and the door itself. It does appear that modifying the entryway in the way that the homeowner is requesting would lend itself to a more traditional fenestration design, transom and side lights surrounding a solid door. Staff felt that the request was appropriate and would have approved it at a staff level. But the project does require board purview when it came to the proposed design of the transom and side lights, as this home is of high architectural value within the district. All right, Mr. Jones, if you want to tell us a little bit about the project, please.
Sure, yeah, my name's Stephen Jones, just moved into 803 South Main. The original door there, that you see, we dated sometime installed in the mid 70s to early 80s. So it's not the original to the home, door. The biggest issues that we currently have with it is that we've had 2 different locksmiths out to try and, manage the lock that's currently on it, and we're not actually able to lock it or unlock it from the outside. The door itself has some rotting damage. We're able to lock it physically from the inside, but we cannot unlock it from the outside. Our proposed plan would be to install a new solid door without the glass. It'd be more traditional to the style of when the house was built in 1883. We'd add side lights as well. We have a contractor that's worked on the house previously, and he took the framing off from inside the house and said that actually appears that there were side lights there, in his opinion, in the past. It's framed out for it. They've just been covered up. He's sent an email, for which I've provided for everyone if they'd like to look at it. So the goal of the project is to get a new door that's obviously appropriate looking for the architectural design, and offers a little bit more security. It's a little more solid. I work at the hospital here in Berkeley, so I'm gone a lot, and my wife is home alone, and so having a nice solid door and not a fully glass one also help give her a little ease of mind while I'm gone.
Yeah, I see you have a big door, a dog at your front door as well.
Very ferocious dog. Yes, pound French bulldog. But yes, You might miss the glass, but
The extra picture you sent
yes.
was really helpful. When you look at the skylight, it looked like it was supposed to have the stuff underneath it. So I think that's very reasonable to put in the sidelights. I think that makes it more historically accurate
Sure.
than what you've got now.
Right.
And you need to lock the door.
That's true.
Did you think about keeping the divisions in the light above?
We did discuss that with our contractor. They're actually glued on and a couple of them are starting to peel off. It's something that we have discussed. We're not sold on having to remove them. But he said it was just easier to remove them all, and
Yeah.
if you wanted to, can kind of divide
So
it.
is that a new window that you're putting in at the top, or is it,
It will be a new window. It's exact same size.
okay?
But it's just a new piece of glass because that one has cracks in it still.
Yeah. I mean, typically in homes of this character, you would have the lights in both the transom and in the side lights.
Right.
So that it wouldn't just be big pieces of glass at the top or on the sides. Had you thought about adding lights on the sides as well?
Do you mean the side lights?
Yeah,
Yes, that's the part of our proposed design is to putting the side lights in.
I see you're adding a side light. I'm asking, dividing it up so it's.
Oh, dividing the light. We had talked about it. It was going to add $3,000 to $4,000 extra on the project. So something that we kind of decided against. But could be something that we could add.
Well, I'll leave my colleagues to make additional comments, but as a notable building within our community, that would be something that I would look for as an architect, that you had divided lights in the transom and divided lights in the side lights, so that they kept that texture and detail that was appropriate to the age of this building.
I would say I like this much better than the open glass that you have now, both for security and all the things you were talking about. But I like having the side lights there. I love the solid door and the design on it. I like that a lot.
Yeah, I do as well. And I see what Rachel's saying, but I can live with it either way.
Yeah.
I would like to comment on, I really appreciate y'all taking that house back to its original architecture. That's how the house was built, with the side lights and all.
Yeah.
I would like to see the grid patterns kept. If you drive around and look at all the old homes, they do have that grid pattern. And I think it's a part of the history of the house. It's taking it back to its original look. But y'all are doing a wonderful job on the house.
Thanks.
Is there any more
It-
discussion?
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it should be that much more.
I agree.
To do
you didn't
that.
think so, but they kind of explained to us that when building out this door for those divisions, they can't just use pieces of wood. They have to CNC it down from solid pieces of sapele mahogany wood. And so the lumber yard that would be doing this, it's down the street, they would need to source these large slabs of wood to mill down to very small pieces. So essentially you're kind of wasting this wood for these small divisions. But you have to pay for that whole slab of wood. So instead of it being a $7,000 to $8,000 project, it turned into a $12,000 to $13,000 project.
Then I'm a little confused hearing you talk about sapele, but then also this is a paint grade? Is
So
all of this
the
a
door-
paint grade, or?
The door itself is sapele, and then the the portion kind of below the side lights is the paint grade, and it would match the same color that's on the house currently.
The side light portion is paint gray.
The bottom portion of that, yes, of the side lights there is paint gray and be painted white, kind of like it is now, the same color as it is now.
Well, I have to tell you, I'm more worried hearing this than I was when I had assumed that whatever the door unit was, it was all going to be uniform. So typically, we're looking at either the door and the side lights and the transom is all wood, or it's all painted, but it reads as a single unit, because that would be typically what it was in the past. And many of the homes in our community, they're painted. So while I really, really commend you for wanting to say have a Sapele door, which are magnificent, gorgeous doors, really nice, like material, lovely color. I'm not sure this is the right choice to have a beautiful wood door and then everything around it is a painted sort of addition, because they really are meant to be read as like, this is the statement, this is the door, this is the entry to the home. But again, I'd love to hear from my colleagues what their thoughts are about that too. And Tim, I really wish you were sitting up here. Can you join us?
I'm looking at it.
I mean, there's no issue, just.
Okay. Well, then I guess I'll go up.
Come on up, Tim.
Join.
Your input would be valuable.
Just get a tardy slip and then
Yeah,
sign in.
I know, sorry. Driving from Columbia today. Well, I guess my comments would be in joining Rachel as far as the true divided light. I would actually think that would be essential because of the historic nature of the house. And so I think that should be something. I would push back on your guy a little bit. I mean, it's not Sapele, it's a paint grade on this thing that shouldn't be that much. I mean, it will be more, but it shouldn't be anything like that, I don't think. But I guess I haven't priced this recently.
Sure.
But I would push that. As far as the door being Sapele, what is it currently now? It's all painted now?
It's
It's
painted.
all painted
Yes.
wood and rotted.
But I think typically in our historic district,
I
they're
agree
mostly
with that.
painted.
Yeah, and what's the age of this house? Sorry, I was
From 1883,
1883. Yeah,
but that's not the original door or entryway.
sure. No, I agree. And I think putting it back is a marvelous thing to do. So I probably have a tendency to agree with Rachel in this particular case because it's 1883 house. Making it out of Sapele is fantastic. You can still paint it. And I know you could stain the inside that way if you want the Sapele look on the inside. The Sapele will last you a lifetime, even painted, it will last you a lifetime, where the pine will swell and warp with the weather and the humidity that we have. So I have a door that is painted and is made out of Sapele because of that very reason, because I didn't want it. I wanted it to always work. So when I did my renovation, I did just that, made a Sapele door, but painted it. And it's worked beautifully for me. But I do kind of agree, because of the historic nature of the house, it probably should all be painted.
And I'm just gonna ask you to clarify divided lights in the side lights and in the transom.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, the grid pattern should
Yeah.
mimic each other.
Yeah.
Size.
Yeah.
It won't be exactly the right proportion, but proportionally they should be the same.
Yeah. And you know, when you look at what the trim is on your existing door, that works really well with a paint finish.
It does.
It would not look as beautiful with a wooden door, even though, as we both said, like Sapele is a lovely wood and makes a beautiful door, but not in this.
I guess I'm concerned because we got the design suggestion for the wood from our contractor who's worked on our house and many homes in the historic district. And he went around and showed us other homes that have the exact door, exact Sapele unpainted on it within the historic district. And so I guess that's my only concern is I understand this is a grade 2 house.
Then I think you either go all one way or the other, like it's all entirely wood and then you do the trim, or it's all painted.
Okay, so no either painted or unpainted.
You can't just have a wood door and then everything else is painted, like if it's the transom and the side lights, it's either that is the single unit.
Mhm.
And I don't actually, although there are some wood doors like that, I feel like that's a newer fashion, if you like, than what the traditional original doors would have been, which would have been painted.
Yeah, it is just a more modern trend. You
Yeah.
know, it's a beautiful door. If I was building a new house, that's probably what I
Yeah.
would put on my house. But on my historic house, I'm gonna paint.
Yeah.
What colors would it have to be? Would it have to be original to 1883 or?
No, I mean, that's your whole scheme, right? You guys, I'll let you guys speak to the color.
I think that you can think about what would look beautiful with your home, and there are some choices that you could consider. Obviously, white is already on your home and it could easily be done, but I'm sure you could think of something that could be a nice contrast, working with this color scheme.
I was gonna say, the only other thing I would offer is if there are examples of historic homes that you want to bring back and show to us. I mean, I can't think of any right sitting
Yeah.
here, but I would be happy for you
Yeah.
to bring them back and show them to us and say, look, you know, here are 3 other examples and we can tell you maybe why, okay, that was different because of this, or we go, oh, well, you're right. Maybe there was a precedent and we didn't anticipate that.
Would that change
And
your mind?
Potentially, I'm not gonna say it would, but potentially it could.
Yeah.
Mr.
And
Chair, I would,
and I do want to just add, I mean, I specialize in residential architecture. We do a lot of new homes. They're all wood and they're gorgeous. We also do a lot of renovations with historic buildings, and it can be wood, but they're rarely as old as your home. And when we've done that, they're painted.
I was just gonna chime in and say, if you do go and find some examples, if you could just work with staff so I can verify what rating those homes are, just to give you a better understanding. The ratings go from number 1, which would be your highest value, to number 5, which think of a CMU square little block building. So that way I can check and see what rating those are, if they're of similar ratings rather than a lower rated. That would probably be helpful if you did decide to do that.
This will sound strange. Once upon a time, I owned a construction company. We did not do anything with historic homes. They were spec homes. But I kind of find it hard to believe that the difference in the segmented pieces of glass would make that big a difference. Part of me
But
thinks
it's
I'd go to the,
It was a $3,000 difference.
Wow.
Yeah, that's.
I
to me, it's
find
a
that
lot.
hard to believe, given what I've seen as the cost of the whole unit.
I think I have an email with the divisions in the sidelights with it, and I can forward that to you guys too.
I'd ask Berlin Myers if they could find a way to make it less expensive, since we are demanding the the windows, and that wasn't what you planned.
Sure.
Easy for me to say.
Right?
Is there any more discussion?
What would you like to do?
I like to get a new door as soon as possible. I know we're 3 or 4 months out from it being milled and stuff, so whatever it needs to take where I don't have to keep delaying getting.
I mean, I think the bigger question we can vote tonight. Most likely the vote would be that it has to be painted, but if you want to come back, that's okay too.
Yeah.
But we don't want to vote and if you want to come back, you just want to postpone it so that you can come back.
Yeah, if I can go ahead and put my name down for the next meeting, I guess.
Can we just
Could
table it?
we vote, and then if he has some examples that you could send, and then maybe send it over, or?
Okay, if I were to supply a picture of the sidelights with divisions
On
As well as-
on a rated number 2 building.
no, I'm saying if I supply designs with the sidelights with divisions that I've proposed already, and then a paint grade door, and then paint samples that are appropriate to the same color scheme.
Yeah, I mean, I would think that we could probably vote tonight to approve that. And the paint, I don't know if that's a staff thing or that he has to come back for the paint color.
No. Paint colors are specifically noted as staff approval.
Okay, so that would be a staff approval then. So if that's what you'd like, I'm happy to go ahead and make a motion. Sure.
That way you wouldn't have, to if that's just what
Yeah.
you decide to do, you wouldn't
Yeah.
have to.
It would help us get along a little faster.
Yeah, yeah.
If you decide you want to do something different, you can always resubmit and come back. Okay, all right. Well, then I guess I'll make a
Yes,
motion.
mhm.
I'll make a motion that we approve the new entrance door with the door as shown as a pink gray door. And the side light additions or replacement of the side lights in the transom, but with true divided lights in similar proportion to the current one that's currently in to the existing home.
And painted.
And all painted, right?
Painted.
Everything.
Oh, I'll second.
Right, Jane,
Yes.
Kenzie,
Yes.
Nancy, Jean.
Yes.
Rachel,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes,
you're approved.
Thank you.
good luck. Home looks beautiful.
Yeah,
Uh,
gorgeous.
Mhm.
All right, the next item on our agenda is the Short Central Performance Pavilion. You all would like to step forward and present your project?
I'm gonna quickly go over the staff report. So this project, the property is owned by the town of Somerville. Epstein Architecture and Somerville Dream are working together. This is a request to build a performance pavilion with associated site improvements. They are requesting final approval. This is the first time y'all are reviewing this. However, I did want to note that this project has already gone through the technical review process. So they have met with planning staff, myself, engineering, the building department to ensure that the actual site and layout of the overall project met our ordinance requirements. So due to the limited scope of work, staff felt that the applicant's request for final approval was appropriate for the board's consideration. And I will hand it over to y'all.
Thank you. Thanks for entertaining this. My name is Stephen Doniger. I'm the executive director for Somerville Dream. Just wanted to introduce the project and then turn it over to Eric Epstein, who will walk through the architectural components. And we have Justin Lee from Gilbert and Lee, who's our construction manager and construction team. The whole idea behind this is quite simple. It's just an uplift for downtown. And we had some remarkable comments earlier this evening, and I very much appreciate hearing that from our Chamber of Commerce and from our local merchants. The reality is that we want to celebrate what happened in Hutchison Square and carry that true being across all of downtown. Having a placemaking facility, having an opportunity for entertainment, but more importantly, more of a destination component, more of a gateway component when you come into Somerville as an arrival and feel like you're in Flower Town. There's a great deal of plantings that'll be associated with this. The band shell itself is quite different in the way that we looked at this and it come up with something that had a homage to Somerville and our history with flowers and plants and trees. And you'll see that in the design as Eric walks you through that. We're really excited with it. We're seeing great success in all these temporary type things that we do. And you heard from some of our performers and other folks out there. I should also say that this received a PARD grant. We're working in conjunction with Amy Evans, our park executive director, as this is a continuation of our parks. Of course, it's been reviewed by council and it's been approved at different meetings as well. It's been presented at other boards throughout the town. So with that, we thank you for the opportunity to entertain this tonight. I'm going to turn it over to Eric Epstein, our architect, to walk you through the entire project and entertain any questions afterwards.
Thank you, Steve. That would be fantastic if I could.
Mike's a little hot, so don't yell. You just come over here.
Oh, to go there?
Yeah.
Oh, well, but then,
We just don't have the clicker, so if you wanted.
well, let's see, if you could bring it to the first slide maybe, and then we could scroll down a bit, I guess, I don't know.
You can just direct.
And if it doesn't work, I'll go over there.
Backseat drive.
Anyway, hello, everyone. Good evening. Eric Epstein Architecture. Thank you, Steve. We're really excited to be working on this. It's something actually that's been in the works for a couple of years. So we're it's like, yay, we're finally getting to do this, and it's terrific. It's been and we're really honored to be working with Somerville Dream, with the town, Parks and Rec Department specifically. It's a great partnership. And speaking of partnerships, there are other people involved here who are making this happen. Without this, it's a true community effort. So all the design consultants, including us who are working on this, are essentially donating most of their services to this. We are working with Gilbert and Lee Construction, who are donating their services entirely. We have suppliers and contractors and other folks who are donating to make this happen. And you'll see that one of the things that we had to do, and was the challenge for us, was to incorporate these things that are, the materials, the supplies, and other things that are being made available for this, and kind of craft a cohesive project with it. But I think you tell us if we did a good job. With that, thank you, Becca, for the first slide. So this is part of it's part of a bigger beautification project for Short Central, and this is just phase one. So this is kind of like the teaser is that we hope to see you next year for phase two and present that. But tonight we're going to focus on phase one, which is at the southwest end of the street. And Becca, if we advance to the next slide, so there we see the project site really is phase one, that corner that we're all familiar with. Again, next year, hopefully, phase two for the rest of it. So some of the design thinking that went into this, so that you're seeing, is related to things that may happen, hopefully will happen in phase two. So some of the choices of materials, color palette, all of this stuff. Because we wouldn't want to design just this and then go over there and have something else. So it's all going to be sort of a cohesive design thinking for this. If we go to the next slide, we see some images that you're familiar with of Short Central. That's the site is that corner is really just kind of unresolved, right? That street doesn't have a beginning, doesn't really have an ending. It's got a few bollards. It has some, a couple of trucks parked. It's like, what's happening there, right? So part of this effort is to bring resolution to that, to bring a sense of place, an event there, right? A beginning and an end to the street, and celebrate that. So we see some more images there. Becca, if you could probably advance that. Yes, some views down the street. Of course, that brick that is there on the ground, which we're preserving, it's all going to be there. We're very respectful of that. And let's see, the next slide, I think, the streetscape to the west and looking east. And of course, we're all familiar with that. So I think we can keep going, Becca. So in terms of design goals, what we were charged with was, and again, so the bigger thinking is to really unify the street and to activate the street. This is a pedestrian street. This should be an exquisite street place that's active. And, everything is just singing. Everything's working, right? We wanted to create that sort of sense of civic anchor at the end. And of course, place of gathering, place for performances. And you saw some of the folks speak tonight. It was wonderful to hear their support for that. And you see that picture was taken from the Sweet Tea Festival, and that is kind of what's happening, but it's happening sort of as a, jerry-rigged kind of, or operation. So we really want to kind of make this a permanent feature that can support all of this wonderful programming that Dream is doing. We wanted to also make it transparent at eye level, obviously for security, but also for the merchants. I mean, you need to be able to see what's going on with the stores. So that was another objective. Of course, we want to relate to the local architecture, to the elements that are familiar, not necessarily copy paste, but we want to be, we want to relate the architecture to what's there. I mentioned incorporating construction materials that are being made available, and we have to do this on a shoestring budget, okay? And we have to do it like yesterday. The merchants are eager to see this come to life and you know, celebrate the street. So I don't know if any of the members of the council are here, but they are fully in support of this project, and we thank them for that. Becca, if you could advance the slide to the next one. So again, since the overall approach is there are two things happening at this event. It's a small area. One is a new patio, which is where that flagpole is. The flagpole is staying. We're just making that a flexible space for event programming. And of course, at the end of the street is the pavilion and the performance area. Let's keep going to the next one. So that's the existing site plan. We are being rather surgical about it. The area by the flagpole, so that is a fairly small area, and that's turning into a patio. The flagpole stays. We're going to have uplighting on that. So the Christmas tree will be there around the holidays coming up. And then for the pavilion, we are turning what is kind of this unresolved area of bollards and, you know, some crepe myrtles and some other stuff that's kind of thrown together. And a piece of that, those couple of parking spaces, and we are transforming that into our pavilion. You'll see. So in the next slide, Becca, you'll see the proposed plan, and we have that sort of semicircular shape that, thank you. So that is in a way sort of receiving the street. It's kind of catching all of that, you know, and then when you're in it, you will sit and look back out to the street. And all of that is wrapped around with flower beds and sort of the celebration of Flower Town. Let's go to the next slide, Becca. So where do we get our inspiration for this architecture? Because without a concept, you don't have architecture. You just have some, you know, things thrown together. So what ties this together, right? So for us, we always look to the place. What is unique about the place? What is its history? What makes it unique, right? So Somerville is Flower Town. It's in the name, it's in the logos, it's on the signs, it's on the websites, it's everywhere. So and it's very appropriate. It's about, you know, what is it about? It's about renewal, it's about regeneration. I think in many ways this project is exactly that. So so that was our source of inspiration. And then the next slide, we have and this also is going to speak to phase 2, which again will come later. But you'll see some of this layered through this project as well. A secondary pattern, which is the history of basket weaving, the sweetgrass basket, you know, in the Low Country. And of course, we have the flower baskets and all of that. So all of the flowers and the baskets kind of come together, and architecturally, that is sort of the undergirds our architectural concept, if you will. Becca, let's keep going. So we have the familiar local references that everyone has seen and knows and recognizes, right? The standing seam metal roof, and I'm sure you can recognize the profile of that structure there. The roof brackets and the exposed rafter tails, the cornices, which have you know, sometimes a curved shape, sometimes dentils, but that's present. We have timber here. We grow pines, and this is, you know, this is central to this area. So timber and wood. We have the porches and the wood slatted ceilings. Those are very familiar. And of course, if we look, whether it's on Short Central or on Hutchinson Square, we have the inlaid brick, we have the concrete, we have tabby concrete as well. So those are sort of the familiar elements that you'll see that we have to work with. And if you go to the next slide, Becca, then we ask ourselves, okay, well, we got this stuff, and how do we make it resemble, how do we turn it into a flower, right? So the next series of slides is a couple of diagrams, and I'm sorry, this was all sort of packaged as slides kind of layering over each other. So if you can just kind of imagine that, but it was really slick, but you know, here we'll just kind of scroll through them. So we start, so kind of looking down at the site, and there's our semicircle that kind of catches the end of that street. That's our seat basically. And that has a concrete base. It also has some wood slatted seats on it. That's sort of like our basket that's holding this flower. Now, if we go to the next slide, we have to hold up the structure. So we have a series of splayed timber posts, which in some ways kind of reference a flower stem, if you will, or perhaps a tree, or, leave it to people's imaginations. The next slide shows that there's structure that's holding this thing up. Actually, you won't see much of the structure because on the next slide, we show the roof, which is a curved standing seam roof, which is kind of like a leaf, just kind of like floating on top there. And it's curved, it's almost like it's wafting down. You'll see that in the renderings coming up. And then lastly, we have underneath this, which is kind of the ceiling of it, is 3 panels of slatted wood. And those represent the flower petals, so to speak. So all of that comes together to make this structure. So thank you, Becca. So this is kind of what it looks like from the bird's eye view. And you see that it is oriented back to the street. So it kind of lifts its kind of, his visor up, or its leaf up, and it kind of receives that street, forming that sort of terminus that we're talking about. If you go to the next slide, from the ground level, you'll see that it's transparent. You could see through it. We're seeing the brackets that kind of march along the perimeter of it, holding up that leaf of a roof, so to speak. On the next slide, we'll just keep walking around that from Cedar Street. You'll see that sort of the profile from the other direction, and you're starting to see the underside of that, which is that slatted wood that's underneath. In the next slide, we approach a little closer. And so now we see the performance area and the stage there. So sometimes there won't be a performance there, and people will be seated, there'll be tables, whatever. They'll get some, stuff from the bakery, whatever, and they'll be out there, a little sun and rain shelter, so to speak. But at other times there will be some performances. And here we're seeing that. Now, one thing we want to point out is on the ground plane. Of course, currently it's, again, those inlay bricks that are on the sidewalks, they just kind of like fizzle out. It's just kind of end. There's no resolution to them. So what we did is we took that along the sidewalk and we lassoed that around the performance area and back onto itself. So now it's finally resolved after all these years. We took the stage area, created sort of that apron there. You see the couple of steps there, and that is now our performance area. Within that space is some tabby concrete to differentiate it. And then on the next slide, of course, the festivities continue on into the evening and nighttime. And so the structure will be lit in the evening, so things can continue into the night. So that is those are the sort of the renderings. On the next slide, we'll look at the materials. And I do have a board here with some that I can pass around as well after we go through this. So let's start at the top. The top is that roof, that standing seam metal roof. It is by Century Clad. It's a patina green. It's close. There are not too many greens, by the way, that are available. It's either like the deep forest green or the more sort of, a little fresher and lighter green. But what we're doing there is we're not just covering the top of it, we are wrapping it around the edges and the underside. So it really reads as a full element. It's not just a, slapped on sort of wallpaper on the top. The brackets are cut wood, and it's just a kind of an off-white neutral that kind of march around. Let's see, the same thing on the timber supports, the posts, the same sort of painted. They're probably 8x8 timbers that are painted, and the same white paint is on the slatted wood seats that's on the semicircle that's below. In terms of The wood, that is the ceiling underneath, that is most likely going to be southern yellow pine, but treated with a marine grade exterior sealer, so it lasts. And so we get a little bit of that sort of warmth underneath. We are looking for a V-grooved edge, so we could see a little bit of shadow lining between the boards, and it should look really, really sharp. The space that's between the ceiling and the roof, those are the ring beams beyond what you see in between the brackets. That's just going to be that's going to recede as just a painted out matte black, so that it recedes and we read these other elements to it. On the ground plane, we have the regular concrete, which is going to match. Yeah. Oh, what the black? No, the black, the structure that is behind there. Yes, so that's going to get painted out black, but it's enclosed. You can see in the section, it's a couple of, yeah. On the ground plane, we have the concrete on the sidewalk, which is going to match the existing. We have the tabby concrete in the stage area. And we have the inlay brick, which is going to match the existing inlay brick. Now, for the seat, for this semicircular seat, we actually have two options. And we can talk about that. So the first option is using the same tabby concrete there, and it gives just enough of a contrast between the white slatted seats and the concrete. The other option is on the next slide, Becca, and that is, if we can afford it, I'm not promising that we can, but if we can afford it, we also like to use a brick on there, which would be the matching brick underneath, and that would actually ground it quite nicely. But again, we don't have it's not in the budget right now, but if we can, we can hopefully do it. So let's see, I think those are okay. And the next slide is some technical drawings and sections here. So Rachel, to your question, what you're seeing in the black is the structure behind, but there's a ring beam and there are closure pieces. So it is enclosed, but it's recessed from the brackets. It's recessed from the underside of the ceiling, and that recedes visually as we're going to paint all of that just in matte black. Would you like to, we have a board here with some materials. If you'd like, I could pass that around. Yes.
I have a couple of questions that I'd like to just clarify.
Yeah.
So first of all, I'm really, really happy to see that we're having this opportunity to build something at the end of Short Central. I think it'll be a fantastic addition to our town, and I know it will be used heavily. But more than that, it just architecturally sets up the end of that street and the arrival, when you come in. So I love that this is happening and that it really will be that nice balance to what's happening in Hutchinson Square.
Yeah.
So the part that just confuses me a little is there's a couple of pieces that do that. One is when you have a leaf and you talk about the leaf, and when you showed the front view with the night scenes, gorgeous. You have the little edges up above, like the roof, the exposed, call it rafter tails, crystal clear. understand what you're doing. Architecturally, it fits with that slope behind. And then I look at the sides and I'm like, I don't understand how you have crisscross ones that go this way and ones that go this way, and how that works. And then it circles around the back. And I thought the view from the back where you had the rafter tails down the side and around the back didn't look as gorgeous and as balanced and as beautiful as what those front views were, with that just beautiful shape coming up the curve and then that exposed framing up above. And so it just felt like a little clunky, because it just felt like then you had this like circular thing instead of maybe the leaf shape that I imagined you talking about, which had veins and whatnot. So I wasn't as sure that that was the right solution. And then I'm also a little unsure about things like the seat. I think is a great idea. Love it. It sort of forms the background and it's a great place to sit. I think white painted wood would not wear well. Maybe it needs to be cedar left. Maybe it needs something else, but I think white painted wood would need a lot of maintenance. And I'm not even convinced that's the right color, to be honest. Like when you showed the example of brick, I love the brown, like it just made it pop all the more. But I'm wondering if you even had tabby stucco and then you had wood, so you had that color of wood, that maybe that would do it too. But anyway, those are just my very first thoughts, was just feeling like I'm not quite sure about the amount of rafter tails going all around the whole building, and then just some of the material choices.
Well, should I respond? Fantastic. Great. Rachel, thank you, especially for the first part, which is glad you like it. So that's terrific to hear. The question about the rafter tails, and by the way, we studied this probably 47 different ways, and I'm not joking. You should see the amount of trace paper, the number of renderings that you're not seeing. You're only seeing the stuff that actually worked, that we felt was good enough. Otherwise, it was like, no, it's not. We're not done. We're not done. We're still not done. Okay. We studied it a number of different ways. We studied the spacing of the rafters, having only the rafters on the front, having no rafters, and so forth. I'll tell you what happened when we didn't have the rafters on the back. It looked clunky. And
Well,
I know you don't.
I was worried about the rafters on the side. Like I thought the rafters on the back and the front made perfect sense.
Well, so what happens where you don't have rafters, you have the structure that's there. And so it starts to look like, what's a good metaphor? A really fat Oreo. And we did not like those proportions at all.
Yeah.
Believe me, you do not want to, you would not have liked it if we had brought it in. So so this was this a little bit, but instead of doing something different on every side, we thought it made sense that, because also that green roof, it's cantilevered beyond the ceiling that's underneath. So it needs something to hold it up anyway. It is a circle. It's actually a half moon shape. So it makes sense that it has the same overhang on all the sides. So that continues consistently. We thought that was the best solution. It was actually the only solution pretty much that we thought that solved the problem. I think your last question was about the white paint. So that would most likely be cedar, painted cedar on the slats there. We went back and forth on this as well. We started out with a clear stained wood, a nice, wonderful for the first 30 days, or the first 60 days, right, Tim? After that, it's going to get weather. It's going to weather. And then we have gray. And because the town doesn't have the resources to come in and refinish and restain every 6 months or 12 months. So Okay, well, we're not building this for the first 30 days. We're building this for 50 years. And, it needs to hold up. So it made sense that, so we already have the white on the rafter tails. We already have the white there. It made sense to tie that in together with the bench as well. And here's another reason. The future phase 2 and other Richardson Avenue benches, and perhaps there, that idea of the sort of the white slats and the sort of the basket weave that we kind of teased about, that is part of the thinking for other things that are coming here, and that's going to tie all this together. It's paint. Look, people can get anything dirty, but it's easily paintable and fairly easily cleanable. There are other places in other towns, other cities that have white slatted benches. Did someone have?
I have a problem from a practical standpoint with the white paint seats. That is asking for kids, teenagers, whatever, to paint and whatever on. I can't imagine trying to keep it without all the stuff being done to it. And I don't know what the answer is, whether brick would be something that would be easier.
Yeah.
But I think that in a week's time, you can have little stuff all over it. And maybe that's my feeling with young kids. I have 5, but they're not young anymore, and they could manage to get creative. That would be my worry.
Well, any color paint people can paint on or graffiti over. So, yes.
Okay, let's show you.
No, I would say, oh, sorry. Like you were saying with the brick might be a better thing, but I think it's all gonna take some maintenance, so.
Oh, sure.
Anything,
Yeah,
anything
all of
takes maintenance.
buildings take maintenance. I
Right.
mean, it's
Right, it's gonna
buildings
take
are canvases for all
Right.
sorts of things. So
the wood underneath and everything's gonna be need maintenance.
So a couple of questions I've got.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful design. Love the whole concept. Gilbert and Lee, appreciate you guys donating your service. This is going to be a tough little booger to build. So good luck on shaping this thing. 2 things. Explain to me the roof construction. I didn't quite follow you with that. How are you getting this cantilever on the roof and the metal on the underside?
that is the big secret. It's actually fairly sophisticated. It's a small structure, but it's like there's a lot going on to hold it up. And we looked at 47 different ways to do it. There are joists going across, and so it's curved in.
When you say across, you mean left to right, like, so if I'm looking at the front, they're going this
Yeah,
way.
exactly. So here you go. Thank you, Becca. So it's curved in one direction only. But it looks like it's not, but it is. And that's because in plan, it's also the back of it is curved. So it's curved in one direction. So the joists keep going in the same direction parallel to that, and they just span across. And then there's a ring beam that goes around that.
Right. How do you get the metal deck underneath? You show green underneath. That's not the back part of the metal deck.
No. There's of course there's decking there. Yes.
Is
And
that
that-
plywood or is it 2x?
Yes, it's either it's either decking or a couple layers of
And
plywood.
maybe the contractor, you got to cantilever with that roof out there. And that thing cantilevers out of it. I don't know. I can't tell what that is, 6-8 inches. And plywood won't go out that far. Without curving.
Probably gonna have to do 2 layers, and then you're probably gonna have a notch on the front of the staging seam, do it like a cap underneath, the other coming over it and capping over it. Just like you would make a custom piece like out of copper, and you would put that on the front of like the edge of your harness, would bring your staging seam over and clip over like that.
And is there a metal panel on the bottom side of it
There
too?
we
Yeah.
So you're gonna take the same roof and then invert it upside down?
Exactly.
Is that
But
what
the
you're saying?
upgrade would come first, because that has to have a hook.
Sure, understand.
And go over the lamination, and then your standing seam fall over and then clip back. to the
Right.
roof.
Right, so you got a standing seam roof and standing seam roof and then some kind of wood substrate in between that
That's the only
the
way.
sandwich and all.
Yeah, exactly.
Gotcha, gotcha.
And then
It creates kind of an illusion of the roof continuing. and then
Right.
falling.
Yeah, that's very interesting. I'm
And you
just
can
curious,
put your tab
what
around
is,
the pad.
what is the budget for this?
What is the budget?
Yeah.
Well,
Wow. It's aggressive,
We're donating 60.
yeah.
so I would be I was just at a supplier today and showed them this, and they were interested in donating. So I would be remiss in not asking you folks, would you be would you be able to help here?
Brick is beautiful. The brick does add a lot to the seat. Just wrapping up my couple comments.
Yeah.
The wood ceiling, the concept of the slided wood ceiling in concept, I love it. I think it'll be beautiful. I do have a concern about, I know you said marine treated or some kind of sealer. Every time I've used Southern Yellow Pine outside, unless it is like super great treated, it never lasts and it's a maintenance issue for the town.
Yeah.
And so,
We used it on a few of the ceilings, we used, it's a man of war product, a smart thing, use it on yacht rails.
are you doing all four sides before you install the slab?
Correct.
Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the other thing is it doesn't get direct UV light.
Yeah.
It is protected, so it's only on the
Yeah.
underside. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
And then the wood seat, I like the brick base a lot. I do have a concern that, every little kid I know in Somerville is gonna walk around that thing with their dirty feet and their dirty shoes. And so I do worry that white, wood seat might be a tough thing for the town to keep up and keep looking good. It'll look great
I think
on the opening day, but long term,
It's the difference between a pass or fail, I'm happy.
But-
it's not for me. It's just, hey,
But I
you
think-
guys take that into
I
consideration.
think Amy's Parks and Rec is comfortable with it, and so.
It's just something for you guys to contemplate on. That was it for me. Thanks.
I would like to add my 2 cents. I loved looking at the plan, the whole plan. I just read, couldn't wait to get to the next page to see how this flower built itself. It was all quite interesting and I respect the vision plan going all the way down. We're not privy to see what else you have planned for this area. So to me, it would be helpful in looking at this to see what the ultimate goal is. But that aside, looking at it, there was something that was blocking my vision, that it wasn't soothing looking at the end of the street. And I think it's the rafters. There's something about the rafters. I don't know if it's the bluntness of the tails that come up. There's just something that's really busy about them. And I don't know, that just kind of halted me right there. I was wondering if instead of everything being painted white, if there's a way to blend it in without it screaming, here I am. If you can do like a stain or something that's in Hutchison Square, something that looks like a tree bark. If you're going a flower stem, you look at a azalea, the whole stem of it, which are your uprights, are a brown color, a gray color, and then you go up to your petal, which I guess you're calling the roof is the petal of it. And to me, it's very organic, and that's what I loved about it. But if you look at nature, it doesn't just stop on a blunt end. It continues on and it's flowing. That's why I really was hung up on the rafters, the shape of the rafters.
You know what, I just want to jump in a little bit because I think, Beth, you've hit on the piece where I was coming from, the feeling they were a little clunky. And if you look at this slide with the right front corner where you have two almost intersecting, that's the piece that's disconcerting, like how you, like it doesn't feel as organic as the shape might look. And perhaps it's simply that they're bright and not, and it, like you've got the black behind. Like I wonder if you painted those, maybe it's black even. I think it could completely change and then really feel like you've got the leaf piece floating with this other structure. Because it's the only piece that, it's the corners, like where it goes from one side to the next. It's not as
Not as flowing.
not as flowing, yeah.
My eye stops right there.
Yeah. And that's why when I was looking at the front view, like looking up the street where you could only see that front curve, gorgeous, gorgeous, absolutely beautiful. And it was when you just turn the corner a little, it's like, oh, that just looks a little thicker. Like it wasn't as graceful in that flow.
I mean, we can try tweaking the corner a little bit. The thing about painting it a different color or painting it using red or black. And we tried that also, so I can speak from directly having seen that. You want the contrast. You need the contrast, because if you don't have the contrast, that whole middle of the Oreo it starts to look fat and chunky. You need the black to recede. You need the elements to read crisply
So
against each other.
do you have like in between on the sides, is that black in between each of these white
Between the
raptor
rafters.
tails?
Yes, because
Do you have black there and then these just pop out?
Yes, yeah. What we could do, look, we could tweak a little bit of, the corner. You could see, if there's another way to articulate that, or to spread them a little bit, or to.
Maybe maybe the color can be as a little, like maybe, I understand your piece about the Oreo cookie. You don't want it to just, yeah. I get that. And that's, you've experimented with this and I'll, value the input that you're giving us. But perhaps it's just not white. Maybe it's just a different color that just is a little quieter, but not black.
Suggesting introducing a 1, 2, 3, like a fourth element, a fourth color, because that might be too much for this small structure.
Maybe they're just a continuation of the same color as the ceiling.
As the seating.
Ceiling, the wood.
Then you're not going to read the pedal as a pedal. You need that contrast and separation.
Of the metal roof. I don't know. There's just something that's, I appreciate the look that you're going after. It reminded me of looking at the gills on a mushroom. That's what it reminded me of.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that organic look, but there's something that's not, my eye is just not, doesn't work for me.
So I was gonna say, normally Rachel and I are same page, but in this particular case, I'm actually in his court. I like the rafter tails. Even on the sides, yeah. I think the rafter tail actually brings a little bit of a historic element back to it. It's a kind of a contemporary structure in the historic district. And it kind of gives a nod back to, hey, this is a town of rafter tails. That's why I like the brick on the base so much more, because we're a town of brick, not tabby. Although we use tabby stucco occasionally, it's not really what Somerville's about. So I think a brick base there. And so personally, I like the rafter tails, the way they're drawn, and I actually like the color.
Yeah.
Becca,
Well,
can you go
I
back
just
to
want to say though, Tim,
the
I 100% agree.
conceptual
The rafter
part where
tail
the
is historic.
elements were listed,
It's-
the building?
Add something.
I just don't like how it turns the corner.
No, the samples of what they were designing.
You're talking about the
All the way in the beginning.
No, the references for the materials.
Right
Yeah,
there.
yeah, yeah.
What about, see the shape of those rafter tails?
They're essentially, we model them on that. The only thing is, you see that little, that curve, there's a concave curve and a convex curve. So that's what you're looking to.
Yes.
Okay, we can do that.
Yeah, I think it just, instead of having a blunt end,
Yeah,
it kind of helps your eye to go up and back around to where the leaf.
yeah, I think that's,
I
I
mean,
think
to
that.
me, it does.
Yeah.
And I think that's
Yeah.
a cohesiveness with the structure that's in Hutchison Square. I don't, to separate those two and have two separate buildings that don't look like they meld together. If you have a couple of different elements that could be cohesive in them, you know, and it just helps your eye and your thoughts to bring them back together
Mhm, mhm.
in my world. Those are my thoughts.
My opinion on it is I loved, like you said, I loved going through the presentation, how you built the elements. And I wasn't really sure how you were going to tie it together, you know, the flower and this and it's kind of, but when it came together, I thought that is really interesting. I like the design, Justin. I think that's really cool how you explained that. That made a lot of sense to me. And I think it looks really good. And I can see, you know, when you compare it with what we have now, which is this temporary stage that comes up and down, up and down. And, there are going to be some challenges with kids drawing on it and different things, which y'all can figure out. But I like it. And I'm kind of with I guess with Tim on this. I actually like the white in the middle there. I think it kind of breaks it up, and I mean, the Raptors I like. Now if we suggest some small changes on it, I mean I'm fine going either way on it. But I can see, I guess, like how if you didn't have that, it would look stacked up. And you mentioned Oreo. For me, this is kind of I think about the old Taco Bell Mexican pizzas, right? Where it's just like, you know, it was just like boom, 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 boom. To me, that's what I was like imagining. We have this different color in the middle, but
Or
I guess
a really
Oreo-
bad
Oreo was-
cheeseburger or something.
yeah, it was
with a
just
really
boom,
big
boom. So I
bun.
do like the vertical in the middle of that. I thought that looked pretty good, but I think we need something like this for sure.
Thank you.
I did want to ask you about lighting in there.
Yes.
That's my
What
question.
lighting do you have planned?
Right now, none, because we don't have a budget. But if you guys can
What is
contribute a
the-
little bit, we can.
How much more is it to do the brick around the city and to add
To
some
do the
kind of,
brick
like-
around it?
Okay.
Yeah.
We looked at eBay originally for the tops. They tend to gray out, which didn't match the color palette, and obviously it's very expensive. We talked about brick, just had them donate brick at that time. Black Diamond's partnering with us as well. They're doing a lot of the concrete stuff at cost, mud's being donated. So there's certain elements in which it's actually very challenging to kind of build something concrete with donated materials and make it look a certain. It's extremely challenging. So the brick we can make work if that is not negotiable, figure that out. And like I said, all of it was kind of built around the color palette, and obviously we're trying to take certain elements from the existing canopy at Hutchison Square, just the tree, roof, graphic, hill, everything. So, you know, all of that is very important to us, and how all that fits. So.
I just wanted to explain to the board as far as lighting. I know one of y'all just mentioned that. We do have to be mindful, because of the location of this, there's going to be a photometric plan that's required so we can make sure that the foot candles of whatever lighting is or is not provided does not negatively impact the surrounding residences in the area. So I would just caution y'all on requiring specific lighting because that may not be
the
feasible.
direction I was going.
Okay.
I didn't want it to, I didn't know if the lighting would be
We-
on 24/7 or.
We review that at a staff level and have specific requirements in the UDO that Justin is familiar with.
And I can speak on that as well. I've met with Richard Gilbert with Dominion. We are fixing a lot of what is broken there. Save it for Amy here, who has to deal with. There's a particular can that just is broken constantly, that there's a bunch of random conduits coming out of. We're gonna move that over to the side, create a separate little area. That way everything is per regulation. That way it's not way down low or way down high. The way it's meeting Dominion's code and that is at the serviceable height. as well as there will be a audio visual box that sits beside, it's gonna be a stainless steel can that they can pull their audio visual out of. I will be running conduits, so there's gonna be conduits in place, that way while the underground is being done, all the stuff can be fished back through to the appropriate locations afterward. Yet again, we're just kind of waiting on a few more donations, and we're doing it in a way where we don't have to double back and spend money twice, or do anything twice. But it's important to fix a lot of the problems that are on that corner right now that are existing, including just some kind of crazy wire work that's already in place. There'll be a 200 amp service specifically for this that kind of feeds everything on that corner. Be nice and clean and serviceable for per end moving forward, with some additional breaker slots as well if they want to add some additional lighting, which we hope to. You know, landscape lighting look awesome, some down lights hidden. I know Eric can speak to that kind of within the actual structure. Our goal, I think, was to hide the lighting. And
Yeah,
make it
yeah.
like a just a glow.
Right, right.
We put a lot of thought into that as well, even though we couldn't necessarily include it at this time.
How about the landscaping? Is it going to be, are the plants going to be evergreen or?
We're in the Flower Town, right?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Want
No,
to-
it's, I mean, we're looking to basically make it a garden of flowers. I mean, they're going to be native, they're going to be blooming at hopefully different times. So, you know, again, this is going to be done through donations, but, you know, seasonally, we want some variety of things coming in and, you know, giving us some color at different times. It's basically a pavilion in a garden. And that's what we want. Right now, we don't have that over there. We have some asphalt and, you know, whatever we have there. So, Yeah.
Being compliant. So we're working out as much as we can with our civil engineer. It's not all gonna be perfect, but it's definitely gonna be way better than what it is right now. And, we do have some local landscapers that are gonna donate their time and efforts as well. My vote's for hydrangeas, that's my grandmother's favorite. So, but yes, obviously, you know, we want it to look a certain way and we want it to accentuate the whole meaning behind the all that.
And whenever there is entertainment going on, someone playing, will people just stand around, do you think, or is there going to be some kind of seating the other way?
Again, any seating, we don't have seating it where you don't have it there now, people bring their.
They can bring their chairs. Yeah.
I mean, next to there, years ago, those are used. We're not bringing in a big concert here, we're talking about more intimate settings for duos, that type of thing. Where Hutchinson Square is more appropriate for the bigger concerts, the bigger venues.
Mm-hmm.
Poetry reading, children's theaters, other activities that go on out there, so. We're not concerned with any additional seating.
What's the timeline for getting everything done?
2 years.
That's
a good question. I can say this, we anticipate because of the goodwill that we have and donated, services, being very gentle on this, but our anticipation that we'll get approval from you, we'll get it tonight and move through all the process of back up. The town, as a town project, we anticipate hopefully at the beginning of Q1 to be able to be breaking ground. And the town man on this, just as like we say, has allowed what we anticipate hopefully within a few months of construction processing, depending on where everything falls, whether and all that. With my timeline, it would be not on festival, but my timeline's not realistic on this. More realistically, for the 4th of July, which I like to see something here. He's bigger than me, so I can't. And I think that's very much.
So in other words, you're not going to throw out the pop-up tent yet.
No. Put that on fire.
Yeah.
Actually, when we got the farmers market there on Saturdays, and now that which is there, we're spoken with our other merchants down there. It's just a performance stage is one thing, great gathering space is really well defined. And our merchants, people that are investing into these businesses,
this is the uplift investment that we feel is the right we've made.
Well, I think it's gonna be a photo op too.
Yeah.
Area. Cause it's so, gonna be pretty, so.
And I have spoken to, well, they're super excited about it. I know he didn't write anything, but I spoke earlier and they're more than willing to cooperate and are very excited about what it brings to their business. So, I feel really good about it from a business owner standpoint. And I appreciate it, obviously some support being here for that. But that's a forgotten side, I mean, I lived here my whole life and when that street was open, I almost got hit by a car there one time on my old place. But since it's been closed down, there's kind of a way that everything stops. And I love how Eric presented it because Hutchins Square is its own thing. And if we're left up to me, all of it would be closed and walkable. But that's a whole different thing and a whole different, so.
You're creating a gathering place, and that is the most important thing. We can fight about the color of the supports when you're getting ready to paint that stuff. But I don't want us to hold this up because we're just not convinced, all of us, that the color is the same that we want. So I want to get this started. I think it's good for the community. Yes, for performances, but it's a gathering place. People can come in and have sit along that area and have lunch. They can bring a picnic. They're close to the shops. I think it's just a wonderful idea. I'm glad you're doing it.
Yeah, I'm with you on it. The details, I think it's great. And I think just for the community, I think it'd be wonderful. I just got back from Boston about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, and my wife and I were walking down Newberry Street and they had something similar to this. And I told her, I said, this is what we need right around there, right around this area, because people were out and they were, having their coffee. And it was really lively and it was really nice.
Are ready for a motion?
Yeah, go for it.
All right. I'll make a motion that we approve as submitted with the following caveats: that the ends of the rafter tails would match the existing bandstand on Hutchinson Square, and that the seat base would be brick.
Oh, the seat base.
Okay, the whole base. How about that? Okay. All right. Thanks.
All right. Is there any more discussion?
Can we wait on the color at the end since it can get right before they're put up? Can we wait on deciding on the color? Is that possible?
You can have a site meeting. I know that prior to going, I'm more than happy to do that again. I feel like that works well. I'm happy to do that.
That was a really positive experience doing like that.
I'm okay with that.
So Tim, would you like to amend the motion that we?
Sure. Let's amend the motion so that everything's approved, that the final color of the rafter we decided.
I'll second the amendment.
Jane,
Yes.
Kimsey,
Yes.
Nancy Jean,
Yes.
Rachel? Yeah. And Tim,
Yes.
and I am yes as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck, y'all.
Thank you, everyone.
Great. Thank you.
So good fun.
Yeah. Thanks for
Good job.
Thank you.
also Justin, thanks for,
That green wave.
you guys put a lot of work in on this.
All right, folks, we don't have anything else on the agenda tonight. Do we have any questions from the board for staff?
Tim,
I wanted to, can I add something to our agenda or make a comment?
Sure.
Okay. What I wanted to discuss and have some clarity about was that if maybe it was the last meeting when we discussed that home where they were building a little cottage with the pool behind it.
Mhm.
And we had a lot of conversation within our group, not just about the architecture, but about where it was on the site.
Mhm.
And I would like to know if we can discuss what happens when there is an approval outside of our meeting about, say, where the pool goes, which then influences where the building goes. And not being able to separate out building and other site.
I would say that, I appreciate your question. I would say that we can't specifically talk about that project at this present time, just, you know, for the sake of transparency. But in general, I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, Rachel, you are asking that if the zoning restrictions allow the placement of an accessory structure in a location that the board does not feel is appropriate or may influence a decision one way or the other. Pools, unfortunately, those aren't in your purview.
No, I do get that we don't approve the pool, but if some other approval happens on the site that then limits what we are interested in, which is where do additions go? Where do accessory buildings go? How might the driveways that serve those accessory buildings, like those kinds of things, and visibility from the street, we are interested in.
It would have to be written in the ordinance that y'all would have purview over something like that. You know, in general, you already have purview over, it would honestly really be things that you don't have purview over. Because if you think about it, you know, anything else is already going to come before you, any accessory building, except for the few that are able to be approved by staff, is going to come before you, but it honestly would have to be updated in your guidelines and written in the ordinance, because if elements that you don't have purview over are affecting ones that you do, I'm not sure how we circumvent that without it being in the ordinance. If you have any ideas that you want to send me about how that might be worded or what you would be interested in achieving, I'm happy to discuss that further. And look into it further.
Yeah, I think in general, I know that I don't personally mind where a pool goes unless there is already an ongoing discussion about a pool that is going to be adjacent to a building and the building hasn't been approved. Because then there are limitations on what the homeowner then says, well, I can't do this, or I can only do this, or I need to do this because I've now got my pool. And so I guess I'm just thinking that,
Isn't
yeah.
ultimately, we could say, well, the building can't be that big then.
we
Because
can,
you went ahead and built the pool, that's not our fault.
yeah,
You could have waited to get
You
your
could have
building
waited.
approved.
yeah.
Building has to.
And I mean, that's something as staff, you know, when we advise and counsel applicants, you know, making them aware of that, but beyond making them aware of it, if it's not written in the ordinance, it's not something staff can enforce.
But that really does, being on the side of the house, it affects the streetscape on a grand scale.
Again, let's not talk about,
Okay.
That house, yeah.
but I understand and where y'all are coming from.
And if they go in and want to put a fence up, that comes under us
Right.
around the pool, which I think is
Yeah.
required.
I guess in the end, Tim, you're right, that if that happens and somebody then comes to the board and says, hey, I want to build this building, we then have the opportunity to say, you can't be exactly like what you've shown because your building can't be so far forward or can't be so far left or right or whatever the location is, that it's up to us to then say, just because you went ahead does not mean that we are boxed. we still need to do our best duty to the town to have that accessory building be in the right place and the right scale and the right architecture.
But does the client know that they're not doing the right thing?
They might be
Said that they
surprised.
warned them.
I mean, yeah, it would have to be something that, like, we're having this conversation now and we're aware of it. And it may be something that we do because y'all are the only ones who have to vote on modifying the guidelines. So the guidelines are what helps staff as well and applicants when they're, hopefully they read the guidelines before they come before you. And at the end of the day, we can only advise them to a certain point. Again, if it's not required. But you do have the authority on the structures you are reviewing in that sense. But I'm happy to talk it through more if there are any ideas, but I do think it would be beneficial at minimum to have something in the ordinance, or not ordinance, the guidelines to better advise people and then staff, because I will be going back to being zoning administrator next week. We actually, I do have something to announce. We did hire someone. You'll get to meet her. I will be training her for the next few meetings, so I'll still be here. But more, stay tuned on that. So. Anything else?
Tell us anything about in person.
We can end the meeting and then I don't know if she wants me to like broadcast.
We have a motion to adjourn. A second?